All right. So, good afternoon, good morning, Flagler County. This is Danielle Anderson, your host of Lifeline, the radio show connecting you to positivity in our community. And we have a very special guest. I'm so excited. Miss Holly Burns. She is Mrs. Florida, USA.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Thank
Yes.
you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored and excited to be here. Definitely. I had no idea that this was a little gem in the community,
It's here. And we were
Yeah.
just talking about the fact that you've been a Palm Coaster for like a really long time.
Yes, like I want to say back in 96, 97.
Wow, that's longer than me.
Yeah, it's been a part of our lives, my daughter was not born here, but very shortly after we moved here. I think she was 6 months old when we moved here, and now she's 26. So
Wow.
that, I guess, 20 years, and so we've been in and out of the school system. And I was telling you I was PTO president at Old Kings Elementary, and both my kids went to Buddy Taylor, and they both graduated from Matanzas High School. So it's been very much a part of our hearts, and I love Palm Coast. It's a very great town. It's small enough but large enough that if you don't want to be seen, you don't have to be.
Right. And
Yeah.
and it's really kind of growing because it used to be, if you went to the grocery store, you actually had to get dressed because you're going to know
Yes.
somebody that you in the grocery store. But now that, there's a little more anonymity here.
That's true. And, also, it's so funny that you say that because every time I didn't get dressed and I wasn't looking the greatest, that's every time I saw somebody I knew. So that's funny that you mentioned that. So, yeah.
That's how it feels like it. So we actually met. Holly is our amazing cover for Ormond Beach Living for our March issue. And we met because, she has this great platform and she's talking about type 1 diabetes. And, she's going on to the national competition. But to realize that Mrs. Florida, USA, lives right here in Central Florida, it's just so unbelievable. And then we got connected and it was like, your story is really incredible. And then to find out you're even more connected because of your history with Palm Coast. And
Sure.
it's like, wow. Just so
Sure.
can we talk about how did you discover Palm Coast? How did you come to be here?
So I actually graduated from Seabreeze High School, and at that time, this is giving my age, Palm Coast was very, very small. I don't even think there was a Walmart at the time. I remember when Walmart came into town, and it was a big thing, And then, of course, Target years later was just wow. But yeah, Palm Coast was just this treasure. It really was. So my husband at the time and we built homes here, and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I was a speech pathologist and in the school system, and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So I was able to do that here in Palm Coast, and then, like I said, my kids went through school, and I loved the school system here. The school systems were really great. My son now is at University of Florida, and he was able to go through dual enrollment, which was great. My daughter is now a firefighter here in Palm Coast. So
Amazing.
yeah. So we definitely have roots here in Flagler County in Palm Coast.
And you mentioned that she's 37 weeks pregnant.
I think so. Yeah, tomorrow.
And she's testing for
Lieutenant.
in the Palm Coast Fire
I
Department.
know. I'm so proud of her and my son-in-law too. I mean, he's a firefighter in St. John's, and both of them are just amazing human beings and amazing parents. I have a granddaughter, baby Brooklyn, and and then we have baby Bailey on the way very shortly. But they just are really good people, and all my kids, my daughter, my son, and my son-in-law, just really good humans.
Well, it looks like a legacy of public service, just kind of runs through their genes.
I hope so. My goal in life was and is always to leave the world a little bit better than when I came in.
And starting
sure.
as a speech pathologist, I mean, I didn't know that about you either.
Yeah, I was that was That was many moons ago. Now I am, I say God had different plans for me, and that is a true statement. Now I'm getting my PhD in environmental epidemiology. So I am, we do testing for mold and asbestos and, indoor air quality. And that's really where my passion is to keep all people healthy in their indoor air, but especially children because their respiratory system, their pulmonary system is developing. But yeah, that's my goal is to leave life a little bit better.
So I know that's not the platform that you came to talk about, but
No,
can we talk a little bit about that indoor air and
sure.
how important that is, because people don't realize, like molds and things like that, it can really have a detrimental effect on your health.
It can. I mean, we know so much about respiratory and pulmonary issues. There's been quite a bit of research on that. My research right now is delving into uh, poor indoor air quality and cognitive health impacts. So we're learning more and more about the various types of molds that there are, and each type of mold, how it can affect our health differently. And everybody's system, everybody's immune system is so different. So it's just interesting to me how microorganisms really interact with each other, and it's fascinated me so much that I keep learning. I want to learn more about it and protect people and their health, because there are some things that we can do that don't really cost a lot that can keep a really good indoor air quality, like changing your filter, but also knowing the right filter to get. So having it pleated and getting a MERV 8 or better is really important to know um, how well our houses can be in terms of health. Hmm.
So I was wondering, are there any tips that you could give to people, just simple tips for, monthly updates, or, things people can do to kind of improve it? Because I've heard,
Sure.
like, pouring vinegar in your drains or things like that. I mean, are there things that they could do at home?
Yeah, I mean, knowing your products of whatever cleaning product you're going to use and reading the labels, having it sit for the appropriate dwell time, because every product is registered through the EPA and it has dilution ratios and dwell times that it needs to be sitting there. So knowing the product that you're going to use, and if I can give a little PSA announcement,
Please do.
knowing not to use bleach and use it with any kind of ammonia type product, because it does create mustard gas, which can really make us sick. So we really want to know our products and make sure that they don't interact with each other. That's very important. And then using your exhaust fan when you shower. It's important that it is exhausted out of your home and that it is actually running while you take your shower, and approximately about 8 minutes after the fact, to get that
Oh.
moisture, especially if you have a hot shower, which many of us do, and get that moisture up and out of your bathroom. So if I can give any tips, those are some good tips that I think are
And
important.
we'll talk about, like, maybe cleaning that exhaust fan, because it's, to me, it always seems like it looks a little dusty sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, we don't want it to be impacted. So cleaning it is also helpful so that airflow can go up and again be drawn outside of the property and not into the attic is is really helpful. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, so you guys got some extra tips today on, like,
Yes.
how to prepare for the summer, because it's really hot and
Oh,
moist and rainy, and you just never
oh.
know.
Sure, sure. And in the summer, our air conditioners are working overtime. So making sure that our air conditioners are up to date and maintained is also a really important factor here in Florida. So if you've just moved down, highly recommend getting it looked at before it gets to be too late.
Yeah, because those guys are busy in the summer.
They are. They are.
What
That's
made
true.
you decide you wanted to pursue, like, this line of research?
Oh my gosh. Well, like I said, I just feel like there was a calling, and so I was drawn to this. The microorganism again interests me. And one thing led to another, more education, more education. The more education I received, the more I wanted to learn. So
And you actually teach people.
I
Like
do.
you have like a business that you literally like help teach them the standards, the industry standards, right?
I do, yeah. Now internationally. So I do go nationally throughout the United States and I train contractors on proper mold remediation, water restoration tips. But I've been called to Canada, so I do now that internationally. And it's important that, and I tell the students and the registrants that they are coming in to protect people's most valuable assets, which is their home. But also, another valuable asset is their health. So, both their home and their health are really critical to come in and have a mindset that we're really doing it the proper way. Like you said, following those standards, the IICRC standards that are set forth on how to remediate mold and how to restore water damage incidents appropriately.
So not only
Hmm.
does she not only is she amazing with like hair and makeup, she knows how to do construction and like really cool stuff.
Ah!
So let's talk about like why you're the platform that you chose to run on for. How did you decide you wanted to run for Mrs. Florida?
So, I used to do pageants when I was younger, but um, I just feel like it's a really good platform for women to have an opportunity to speak about what their passions or passion is or are. And I think it allows so many of the women that are in this organization are business owners, physicists, chemists, doctors, attorneys, but they also are driven to do great things for their community. So I'm honored to be a part of that community. Um, and so my drive was, like I said at the beginning, to do something better when I leave than when I entered this world. And especially now because there's so much influx and there's so many negative things that we hear that I feel like I have a purpose to bring kindness and joy and help others in our community. So I felt like this was a good time and a good opportunity to be able to do that.
So we're going to take a really quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about your platform,
Okay.
how it actually impacted your life, and why it's so important and how you can help out. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
So, too good.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? All right. So we are back with Miss Florida USA, Holly Burns. So Holly, tell us a little bit about your story with type 1 diabetes.
So I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was about 5. And at the time, we're talking late 70s, early 80s. Um, there wasn't as much, I should say, knowledge as what we have today. And my parents were told that I wouldn't live past the age of 20. And if I did, I would have a lot of adverse health complications, like I would lose my legs or kidney issues, heart issues, my eyesight, I'd probably lose that. So I've always had that fear in the back of my head.
Was that standard that they told people?
I believe so.
Okay.
I was also diagnosed as being very brittle, which means my blood sugar can bounce up and down, high and low, very quickly. And it could be with anything, hormones or stress. And so my family wasn't. They had a fear of needles, pretty much all of them. So at the age of 5, at a very young age, I had to learn how to manage my diabetes myself. Learn how to take my blood sugar and give myself my shots. And at the time, insulin was from pork. So I went to University of Florida, Shands Hospital, and they had a program which was diabetic camp. We also, my family, had a lot of financial instability. So there were times where we lived out of our car, or times that we lived in low income housing, or even on our family's friends' houses. So we couldn't afford to go to camp. But they had mentioned diabetic camp, and I had the opportunity due to an anonymous donor. And I went from the age of 6 to the age of about 14. I loved it. Every year, it brought me stability. It also brought me education and empowerment on how to learn to thrive and live with my diabetes, because they have um, doctors there and nurses and psychologists now they have there. But it was a life changing experience because of all of those things. But also, when I was at school, nobody else had diabetes, So now I was surrounded by children the same as me. And we were able to go have fun and learn how to fish or learn how to swim, some arts and crafts, things that were really great. And so my platform is type 1 diabetes awareness, but we are doing a Fit for a Cure uh, event on May 3rd, on a Saturday, May 3rd, to help raise money because I want to give back to children that maybe can't afford to go to diabetic camp like I couldn't. So far, we have 3 kids going. I've
Oh,
already gotten
wow.
sponsored, and I've already gotten sponsors, and the event hasn't even happened yet.
That's
So I'm
awesome.
so excited. Yes, it's wonderful.
So, how long is the camp for? Is it a week? Is it a few days? How long
Well,
do you
when
get to
I
go?
went, it was 2 weeks years
Wow.
ago. Now it's a week.
Okay.
And they have a week in the summer, but they also have camps throughout the year that are just weekend camps, like Friday through Sunday. But the summer camps are a week long. And the last time I went a couple Sundays ago, they asked me to come speak to the kids and to give awards to kids who just put their pump in for the first time or learned how to count carbs. And so that was a Friday to a Sunday camp, and it's just a great camp, a great atmosphere. They have so much for the kids.
And I can't imagine. So you say things like counting carbs or those things, and for me, I'm like, I don't even know what you mean. You know what I mean? But for like the kids who are learning how to go through this
Yeah,
or to manage it, for them that's everything.
sure.
So how vital is it when you have those people that are working with you and they make it feel like this is just part of what we do? It's just part of our, instead of being like, oh, I need to go, be by myself so I can try to figure this out and work on it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you say that because during that camp, it was for teenagers and adolescents. There was a little girl that was diagnosed 3 weeks earlier. But they talked about a Stanford study that just had come out that said type 1 diabetics, they actually have about 350, I believe that's how many additional decisions that we have to make, like counting carbs before every meal to determine, there's a lot of math involved too, to determine how much insulin we have to take so we can stay and maintain within the levels that we need to be. So I was astounded when they said 350 different decisions or additional decisions we have to make. Like working out isn't just putting on an outfit to go work out and bringing your water. It's, what is my blood sugar? Is it too high? Can I work out right now? Do I need to drink water to flush this out? Is it too low? Do I need to bring extra snacks? So there's a lot going into even one incident, one decision.
And for you, it's become routine, but for those little kids that are just learning to manage it, I mean, I'm sure it's got to be almost overwhelming.
It can be, sure. And what we're finding now, or what they had told me, is that kids coming into camp now, some of them, the parents are doing so much for them. So this is like the first time that they have been away from the parents having to manage this on their own. And these could have been teenagers that this
Wow.
could be happening, where, the parents are doing maybe too much for them that they're not able to kind of manage it on their own.
So learning from such a young age, do you feel like it helped you just kind of mature and be responsible about your own health and wellness?
I do. I really do. I think, it every every adversity that we have, we can make it to be a positive moment. And I do believe, looking back on it, that there are so much positive moments that I've taken from my life that have taken me to where I am right now, and that being one of them, that foundation.
So tell us a little bit about the event itself. We
Yes.
know that we've got some kids that are going to get to go to camp, but what are you guys going to be doing during the day? And where can they go?
Okay, so the event is, like I said, Saturday, May 3rd. It's going to be from 9 to 11. During the event, it's going to be at Revive Fitness. Arnold, who owns Revive Fitness, has been such an amazing human that have allowed us he's hosting it there, which is in Ormond Beach, right off of US 1.
He's so cool too.
He is pretty cool. South of Granada, if I've located that right. But it's Revive Lifestyle and Fitness, or Fitness and Lifestyle, I think.
Yeah.
And he is hosting it. So we are going to be doing some push-ups, every dollar for a push-up. We're making this fun and
Oh, right.
approachable. Jump roping, and we are going to have some health and nutrition. Arnold's going to do some shakes and talk about, differences between complex carbs and simple carbs. Or if you go through a drive-through, we don't want to make this where it's like, oh, health, nutrition, ugh. What is this approachable? How can we do this where everybody can do it? If we go to Chick-fil-A, what's the best item to order off the menu, or McDonald's? So we're trying to make it so that it's approachable and everybody can come and will want to come and make it fun.
It sounds like a field day.
Yeah, kind of.
Just
Yeah.
come and have a good time and like hang out. And the really cool thing, I did a story on Arnold, and he was inspired by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mhm.
That's been kind of like his role model for fitness and things like that. And I was like, it's so cool when people have like something that they look up to and it inspires them and they want to work towards, and then they don't realize the impact that they're having on the community, because they're reaching their goals and people see it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, he's a very positive person, and I just can't. I can't be grateful enough to be alongside him, and all of these people like you as well, Danielle. So
I'm just blessed to get lucky. So, do you ever envision a cure? I mean, do you see genetics ever coming into play where they can fix people, that they can solve the problem?
what a fantastic question. I sure hope so. I am worried about my grandchildren because Brooklyn is about the same age I was when I was diagnosed, and baby Bailey too. I am concerned because it does skip a generation that they could be diagnosed. So it does cross my mind, and I truly, truly pray that there is some kind of a cure for it, for sure. With so much science, I think I'm hopeful. I'm
Yeah.
hopeful that it will be, but I will tell you, from the time that I was young when I was diagnosed till now, that there's been so many advancements to make my life. I didn't think I would reach 50, so I'm 51, and I am very grateful and blessed. Many women don't want to tell their age. I want to shout it out. I've lived a full life, and I'm so grateful that I'm here. And I think that's due to, a lot of it is due to the advancements that we have in medicine today.
I think it's incredible.
Mhm.
So we're going to be cheering for you. Is it June or July you're going off to the big
July.
one? Tell us really
July.
quickly about that.
Yes, it's in July. It's Omaha, Nebraska. It's Mrs. USA, and I'm just super excited about it. I don't know what's to come, but it's going to be, I think, an adventure. It's been a journey so far.
We are
Yes.
so excited for you. But
Thank you.
until then, you guys make sure put May 3rd on your calendar. 9 to 11 over at Revive Fitness. It's in Ormond Beach. Super easy to find. It's right there, front facing as you're driving down, like literally less than a block south of Granada. So super easy to find. And I think I remember Arnold promising or offering the first 10 people would get like free workouts with him for like a month or something. So it
Wow.
check that out because I think that might be on the table too. And who
Yes.
doesn't want to work with a fitness person for like a month? I mean, at least get that
He did
knowledge.
tell me that he is getting a free month of personal
Oh
training,
my
which
goodness.
I mean, I would love
Sign
that.
me up.
So, yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're so glad and we'll be rooting for you. And we'll definitely come out and see you on May 3rd. And
Oh,
then,
thank you.
and everybody just keep your fingers crossed for Holly when she goes to the big leagues when she gets out there. So thanks for coming
Yes.
in.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I
Yeah.
really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you'll have to come back after you win.
Yeah.
So
Thank
we do
you.
want to thank WNZF News Radio, Flagler News Weekly, the Vigilante Philanthropists, Massage by Natalie, Massage by Natalie and Company, and also our local Benjamin Moore paint store. Try to say that 3 times fast. We'll see you guys next weekend, and